I have been a Jehovah's Witness since I was born. They tell you not to say you were born a Jehovah's Witness. Rather, they tell you to say that you were raised as one. And that at a later point, you made the truth your own. That you didn't just take from your parents' religion. That you didn't just follow into like a custom. But instead, you made it your own and you chose the Jehovah's Witness religion out of all the other ones because you know it was the truth. But in reality, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, even though there is a facade, there is this face that the religion has that, oh, you get to choose to be baptized, or, oh, you get to make it your own. In reality, you are forced to become Jehovah's Witness. I remember as a child listening to meetings, and I would go to the Spanish meetings and English, but mostly Spanish as a child. And I would hear these brothers give talks about the end of the world. And in Spanish, it sounds very serious. In English, it almost loses its touch in English. You hear it so often. But in Spanish, a language that's so vivid in my head, and it's so like integral and personal to me when I speak Spanish. When I heard, Armageddon, end of the world, natural disasters happening that are going to sweep people away, the evildoers. That made me fear for my life. So with me thinking as a child that the only way for me to survive Armageddon and for me to live with my family in paradise, the only option I had was to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Is it really an option? Is there really a choice to serve or not serve, quote unquote, Jehovah, if there's a gun pointed to your head saying you don't have to serve God, but you'll die in Armageddon? Is there really a choice? Is there really any other options? I spent years of my life dedicated to the organization. One that does much more harm than it does good. One that selfishly will take people away from their families, tell them to shun them. One that uses up people like resources and doesn't care about its constituents, about the regular average publishers, and certainly doesn't care about female publishers. Much less, female publishers than regular brothers. There was no option. I was basically forced to become a Jehovah's Witness for fear for my life. Those thoughts are exactly what this article in the frequently asked questions page of jw.org reminded me of. Do Jehovah's Witnesses force their children to adopt their faith? And they say no, because worshiping God is a personal decision. They quote Romans 14:12. So then each of us will render an account for himself to God. It says here, Jehovah's Witnesses want the best for their children. So they teach them practical skills, morals, and religious beliefs. They believe, and if you keep saying it says, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the Bible promotes the best way of life. Here's the thing. It's not just the Bible principles that Jehovah's Witnesses promote. That's one thing. But it's the Jehovah's Witness interpretation of said principles that are so distorted and honestly just wrong that is very harmful. That's what is harmful. Some of the earliest memories I have of my childhood, of my youth, are revolved around the organization. When I was a child, we would have snow, it would snow like crazy. In the Kingdom Hall, my father would have a vehicle and he would plow the snow out from the parking lot of the Kingdom Hall. And I would be there with my little Winnie the Pooh shovel, helping, clear out the snow. I remember going with my parents to their Bible studies, and we didn't live in the richest area. We lived in a rather slummy area of America. But we would visit them, and then we'd see the apartments that they live in the projects, and these really lower income areas. And we weren't necessarily rich, but we were about average. But we would see that, and it would reinforce Colder Pizza. Look at this. Look at how they're living. Do you not see that they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, and they are worse off than us? Imagine how good they will be with Jehovah's help. Like, Jehovah is going to give them material things. Like, Jehovah is going to help them economically. Obviously, he didn't. Because some of those people, even when they were converted or not, it stayed the same. Post-truth or pre-truth, their economic situation, if anything, got worse. Their financial lives only got strained. Keeps going here. Do Jehovah's Witnesses baptize infants? No. The Bible does not endorse infant baptism. As children grow, they may in time choose to be baptized. However, to do so, they must understand the commitment they are making. Does the organization really hold true to those words? And the answer is no. There are many examples in yearbooks and in watchtowers of young people, of children, getting baptized at the age of 7, 8, 10. I was baptized at 12 years old. All these children baptized, there's really not much a difference between that and this infant baptism. And honestly, infant baptism is a little bit better when it comes to quote-unquote Christendom, because in regular Christendom, they can't be shunned for rejecting their beliefs. They don't shun them in regular old, churches and Catholics. They don't practice that. But Jehovah's Witnesses do. An 8-year-old has no understanding of the ramifications of their baptism to become a Jehovah's Witness. They don't understand it. If I was a child at 12 years old, when I was a child rather at 12 years old, I did not fully comprehend anything. I wasn't even able to finish some video games I gave up too early. I didn't understand the ramifications of my actions as a child at 12 years old. I didn't know. But I dedicated my life to God, to quote-unquote Jehovah, really the organization, because I thought that was the way I can live in paradise with my parents. Do you blame me? Is it my fault that a kid wanted to live forever, happy with panda bears, eating fruit plates, and and all these, and living in huts and tents in the middle of a warm and comfortable Antarctica? Can I be blamed for wanting a great life with my family and being fed these lies, thinking that's the only way for me to have that life? I don't think so. You can't blame children. Children cannot enter into a legal contract at all at that age. Children can't sign documents that are pertaining to their life at that age. They can't make decisions for themselves. Yet, somehow, they can dedicate their lives to be a Jehovah's Witness, to an organization. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. It keeps going. Do Jehovah's Witnesses shun their children if they choose not to be baptized? It says no. But here's the thing. That Jehovah's Witnesses, this here is very specific on whether they choose not to be baptized. It does not mention if they choose to be baptized and then later discover that what they're being fed is lies. So they don't shun a child that doesn't choose to be baptized, but the issue is they probably won't be too attached to them. It happens all the time. Their relationship is somewhat strained. And God forbid a child is baptized and then later rejects the truth, quote unquote. Then the parents are obligated to shun them. And what if that's a child? They're still 13, 14, 16 years old. Oftentimes, the parents will send them to some other family member, or the parents will do this soft shunning in the house where they talk about family stuff, but in the Kingdom Hall, they're separate. It's insane. It is insane what Jehovah's Witnesses believe and what they do. And then we're gonna hear next. It says, "Why do Jehovah's Witnesses take their children with them for when preaching?" You have no idea the stress I had as a child, the fear I had as a child, fearing that I would knock on someone's door and there'd be somebody from school, a kid from school, a teacher, God, anybody that I knew. And up until not even that long ago, when's the last time I went door to door preaching? A few years ago, I would see somebody at the door. I would fear that it'd be somebody from work or somebody from the school that I went to before. Thank God I don't have to put up with that anymore. Preaching door to door was traumatizing, having to explain myself, try to convert people as a child. I'd been doing it my whole life. My mom would take me in a stroller. She would even get criticized. I remember her telling me that people would say, "Why do you have your child with you? That's abuse. And why aren't you working?" Instead of knocking on my door at 9 a.m. And she would defend her beliefs. In reality, those people did have a point, though. Like, just do something else. Why are you taking your child out in the middle of winter? It's freezing out here. There's snow. Well, anyways, preaching was not fun, and I dreaded it. I hated it then, and thank God haven't done it in a long time. Do Jehovah's Witnesses participate in holidays or other celebrations? No. Why? Because all those celebrations have pagan origins, they say. And God hates pagan stuff. Really? Everything has a pagan origin. Everything has a pagan origin. Wedding rings, pagan. Piñatas, pagan. Yet you can have both of them. But we draw the line at birthdays and all these holidays. Because the organization draws arbitrary lines wherever it wants to. They make the rules and witnesses follow them like blind sheep. Baba.
About all they can do is bleat. Bah.
So, how do those who were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses feel? We have some examples here of them saying, "My parents didn't force me to be a witness. They told me I had a choice. I never felt that I was missing out by not celebrating holidays. Even though I understood why we didn't celebrate Christmas, I felt like I was missing out. But my parents would give me gifts." All these wishy-washy little stories. What about the thousands of witnesses who aren't in the truth, that were later disfellowshipped, disassociated, or faded, or witnesses or people that were unbaptized publishers that no longer are associated as a Jehovah's Witness? How are they doing? How do they see their being raised as a Jehovah's Witness? Do they feel like they were forced? I am not the only person that I know of that feels resentment to their parents because of the way they were raised, because of the time that was wasted, because of the fact that I was deprived from having a normal childhood, hanging with friends, being able to go to their homes and play games, being able to have quote-unquote worldly friends in general, having to sit away and be bullied for my beliefs, go to the library because they were doing a birthday or a holiday or something like that. The fact that you yourself are treated differently because of that. Not only do you treat yourself differently, but others see you as different. Do the parents not know the bullying and the mental, how much that really affects you mentally as a child, and how much baggage that brings with you? How much, that affects you later, or growing up later on? To this day, I feel uncomfortable doing some of these things that we're talking about. Even though I know it's all hogwash, it's just ingrained in me. Lord knows how long it will take me to really grow into who I actually am. Not based off of these weird beliefs and these half-truths and these lies, but just be who I genuinely am. Not shaped by an organization that is so preoccupied on building their real estate empire, preoccupied on control, not focusing and being part of what they want, of their collection, of the board. No, being who I genuinely am, being colder pizza, me, not one of the collective. So these are just some things that really I was thinking about looking into this article. They say they don't force their children, but they do. And parents, they buy into this and they're like, I'm not forcing my child. But then late at night, they read them the story and they play the dramas of Noah, you know, and then how his family survived the ark. And then the lesson is, you know, stick with Jehovah or you'll die. And your parents like, you see, so stick with Jehovah and you'll be like Noah, you'll survive the end. Of course I want to live. I would love to live forever in a beautiful world with riding lions and eating fruits, but if that's not a reality, I need to make most of what I know is true, which is my relationship with my friends and my family now, as it stands in reality, not delusions. Well, thank you guys for watching. Just a little announcement. I've been thinking about writing a short story based off of just a little bit of my growing up and my, you know, childhood and up to now. Not like a really long dramatic and not for profit. It'd be like free too, or just really dirt cheap, whatever it takes. But like just something out there about like my story a little bit more. So let me know what you guys think. I'm no stranger to writing. I write a lot and I've published stuff before. You know that we later we'll talk about that a little bit more. But you know, just what do you guys think about writing my own personal experiences? And at some point, too, on the channel, I will talk about my waking up story. That's actually something I want to do within the next few videos. We'll see how it feels. So we'll feel it out. So just let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. And if you like this, hit subscribe and like so you can catch more videos and it helps the channel. And check out all the links in the bottom below. You'll see the link to this article and to the Twitter page and whatever other pages I want to show you. Anyways, take care as always, and see you in the next video.